Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark, the Mad Movie Mark movie review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1939 crime romance Daybreak.
Il a changé. Il était plus pareil. Toujours expliqué, toujours expliqué.
Hey, that's not true or fair at all. I'm the same person that I've always been, and I do try to explain things as much as I possibly can, but I am no professional, and sometimes I get stuff wrong. If this is your first time joining me, I'm reviewing every movie in this book, the 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. This is a French film that stars a very famous French actor named Jean Gabin. I think I pronounce his name wrong every time. Maybe it's Jean Gabin. But this is the fifth film that I've seen him in. The other four are Grisby, Pepe Le Moko, The Grand Illusion, and the French Can-Can. It also stars a woman named Jacqueline Laurent. Now, Jean Gabin's character in this film is named François, and Jacqueline's character is named Francois, but with a female pronunciation. They are lovers in this film, and one reason they come together is because they share the same name and they're both orphans. It also stars Arletty as Clara and Jules Berry as M. Valentine. Now, this movie is a cornerstone of poetic realism. It's one of the defining works of the French poetic realism movement. It blends realism with a moody, fatalistic tone, often centering around a doomed character. It has an iconic performance from Jean Gabin. He plays a working class man trapped by circumstance and is one of the most famous roles of his career, and it's a defining example of his screen persona. It has an innovative narrative structure. The story unfolds largely in flashbacks, while Gabin's character is barricaded in a room after committing murder. Its influential structure for its time. It also has political and historical importance. The film was banned during the Nazi occupation of France after the fall of France, and this was because of its bleak tones and themes of despair and social critique. Now, I think this movie is good. I don't think that it's great. I think that something like The Grand Illusion or Pepe Le Moko are much better. But I do think this film is really propped up by Jean Gabin's performance. I think he just does an incredible job of someone who just is wary of life, is kind of tired of life, and is looking for love, finds it, and then thinks that he loses it and goes into kind of a despair, depression. So this movie opens up. Jean Gabin's character has murdered a man in his apartment, not in the man's apartment, but in Jean Gabin's apartment. He murders a man in his own apartment, and the cops kind of surround the building, and we are told why he killed this man and what happened through flashbacks. So Jean Gabin fell in love with this woman named Francois after they met each other and realized they had the same name, and they were both orphans. They were dating for a while, and then Jean Gabin realized that she was also seeing this other guy named M. Valentine on the side. M. Valentine is someone who trains dogs, and apparently he is a very skilled and very amazing dog trainer. Now, Jean Gabin feels as if he's losing his girl, he's losing this girl that he loves and that he's dating. So he ends up kind of cheating on her with the dog trainer's ex-employee or ex-assistant, I guess, and her name is Clara. Now, Clara ends up falling in love with Francois. She thinks the world of him, basically. She thinks that he is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But Francois doesn't love her. He loves the other Francois. Now, this is kind of a love triangle between the two Francois and M. Valentine that'll last throughout the entire film. There is a bit of, you think there's going to be a twist ending sort of in the middle of the movie, but that never really happens. We learn that Francois, female Francois, was dating M. Valentine before she was dating current Francois, but she loves Jean Gabin's character Francois, and she has decided that she is going to leave Valentine for him, and Francois agrees that he will also stop seeing Clara on the side as well, and that they will just date each other. Now, Valentine doesn't like this at all. He is an older man, and he understands why Francois wants to date someone who's younger, but this was also his kind of girlfriend before, and he wants to fight for her, and he wants to stay with her. He makes the mistake, though, of entering male Francois's apartment when male Francois does not want him there. He tries to kick him out, and he tries to tell him that I don't want you here, that I'm trying to get ready for work. Obviously, Valentine does not comply, and male Francois shoots him and kills him. While this is going on, there are cops gathering outside the apartment. They are occasionally shooting into the apartment. First, they shoot into the apartment from the street, but the head officer decides that that's not a great idea, and he gets really upset at the ones who shot from the street because they could have hit someone, a civilian, and they're basically making Francois a martyr. They're making him a hero to these people, someone who is bunkered down in his apartment, who has no real way to protect himself, to fight for himself, and he's being shot at by the cops, essentially. I think that's the explanation that the cop gives. They also try to just go up into the stairwell and shoot into his apartment, but Francois blocks his door with a big dresser. I think they call it like an armoire or something. Blocks his door so they can't get in. And that's when the flashbacks start happening and we start learning about the story. The ending of the movie, I won't give away what happens to Francois's character. I was not satisfied with the ending to this film. I think there's a couple issues I have with this movie. First of all, I think that it does a disservice to itself in the beginning by letting us know that he murdered someone, because there's no real tension throughout the rest of the film. You know that he murdered someone, and you kind of can guess at least partially what's going to happen at the end of the film. I would say the end is a surprise as to what actually happens to him. At least it was for me. Not a good surprise. Like I said, it wasn't satisfying in any way at all. But you kind of realize where the story is going. There's nothing that's everything's kind of predictable, I would say, and there's really no tension. You don't really see the officers outside that often. You do see the people gathering around, trying to be looky-loos, trying to see what's going on, trying to see Francois move around in his apartments. You do see people outside a lot, but you don't really see what's going on down in the street with the cops. You don't see what they're planning. You don't hear what they're going to do. There's no real build-up to the end, I would say, when they finally try to get into his apartment. And I just found it to be a little dull and a little dry, a little boring. I felt like there could have been a little bit more excitement, a little bit more intrigue. I felt like there could have been a little bit more mystery as to what's going on, a little bit more action. It's really just a slow burn of a drama romance that I wasn't really into that much. I do like the character of Francois, the male Francois. He kind of works all day at a dead-end job that he doesn't like. He gets home, he's tired, he just wants to go to bed. He's just kind of running through the motions of life while he's seeing Francois. Francois is really the excitement in his life. He really doesn't have that much going on. So at the end of the movie, where he feels like he's lost Francois and he's kind of lost that spark and that excitement in his life, he kind of makes a decision as to where he's going to go with his future and with the rest of his life and what he's going to do. And I thought it was the wrong choice. I don't know. I thought the movie was very anticlimactic, the ending of it. I didn't think there was any payoff there at all. It was going to end one or two ways. It ended one of those two ways, and I just wasn't a huge fan of it. But like I said, I do think that the acting was really good. Now, the character of Valentine, he's kind of rough for me. You don't really get to know about him a lot besides he's a dog trainer. You don't really get to know how him and the other Francois met, what their relationship is really like how deep their feelings are for each other. I mean, I guess female Francois later agrees to leave him, but you don't get to really know the inner workings of this relationship or what kind of makes it tick or why she's attracted to him. But besides the fact she said that he was nice to her, or she said that he was nice to her, that's the only reasoning you get for this relationship and for what's going on and why she's decided to see two people at the same time, why she's like hiding the relationships from each other. You don't really get any reason for that. She seems like a pretty immoral character, but that's hard to tell because you don't really get a lot of her backstory either. I feel like there's a lot under the surface here. There's a lot of story. There's a lot of details that are left out, and it just makes the movie kind of flat, if I'm going to be honest. I felt like there was just the movie goes through the motions, but it's not that great. They could have done so much more with it. It's an interesting plot. It's an interesting story. I felt like this could have been done a lot better, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. But I did like the acting all around. I thought the performances were really good. I do like the flashbacks, kind of the zooming, or not zooming, but cutting in and cutting out, fading in and fading out. I thought that was really cool. You don't see a lot of that in the 1930s. It's one of the first movies I think I've seen where they do fade in and fade outs. I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, I think that's it. There's not a whole lot to say about this movie. I'm still going to give it an 8 out of 10 just because of the acting. I thought the cinematography was pretty good. There's some pretty cool scenes. There's also a very famous speech. Apparently, it's a famous speech that Jean Gabin gives later in the movie where he says he kind of just wants to be alone and like, why are these people out there watching him? Are they expecting him to jump? Are they expecting him to commit suicide? Like, what do they expect him to do? He just wants to be left alone. And apparently that speech made him so emotional that he cried after it. I'm going to be honest, I've seen a lot of speeches in movies and I didn't think that this was that special. Maybe it's special because of the time, because they're in the grips of World War II or they're on the cusp of World War II. France is going to fall, and maybe there's a lot of pent-up feelings and frustrations and emotions that are going on in France that really made this speech powerful and really made it something that he was moved by. But as an audience member today, I didn't get it, and I didn't think it was that fantastic. You could watch something from Mr. Smith Goes to Washington from the 1930s where he does better speeches in that film. But I mean, I guess it was important for Jean Gabin. Important enough to make him emotional, but I didn't find it all that moving or spectacular myself. But anyway, it's still an 8 out of 10. I hope you join me next time when I review a movie called Gunga Den. Thank you. Have a great day.